Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, helping people in San Diego buy, sell, and refinance their biggest investment, delivering you timely truths, exposing important issues, and helping you get into the right home. Here are your hosts, real estate expert Daniel Beer, top-ranked professional by sales volume at one of San Diego's largest brokerages, and his mortgage partner, Todd Pianin, with over $2 billion in funded loans.
What's up? What's up? It is Real Estate Exposed. You're with Dan Beer of the Beer Home Team at Keller Williams Realty, along with Todd Pianin, Home Street Bank, the money man that we go to and trust. It's a fabulous Sunday morning. It's a championship football Sunday.
It's a championship football Sunday, and we now have a new president of the United States who was inaugurated on Friday.
And that is... It's been amazing to watch. The most interesting thing, because we've talked the election as much as you could talk about, but
right.
Do you realize what people are paying for hotel rooms and for
what
inaugural experience packages in D.C.? I never realized that this is an event.
This is like the Super Bowl. This is like the Super Bowl.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I mean, people. So here it was. I believe it was the Ritz-Carlton had something like a $90,000 package.
What does this include?
To stay in one of their super special rooms.
Right.
Have tickets to the inauguration. Have, gosh, I don't even remember what else it included. The point being, they weren't the only ones. The Four Seasons there had the same thing. The Marriott Marquis had something like a $75,000 package for the inauguration.
You got
Amazing.
To be. It's unbelievable.
I just genuinely didn't understand or realize that is a spectator sport. I mean, I figured most of the country did what I do, which is stay at home, watch on TV, and then shrug your shoulders, and then go to lunch.
Exactly. Go to lunch. Go to lunch, Dan.
Or dinner.
I know. Hey, little props to me though. I call this way, way early.
You did. You did. Pretty much as soon as he announced, you did. I was convinced it was a publicity stunt. Interestingly enough, talking about publicity, because I thought he was doing it to increase the value of his brand. Well, once so much of the negativity about Trump came out, I mean, this is to show you just how biased and how one-sided the majority of the media is, because the liberal leaning media, especially television media, radio, you get a lot much more conservative talk, but liberal leaning television media would have you think that the entire country is protesting the election and that his brand is now not worth a damn.
Right.
Well, do you realize the waiting lists for his hotels? His brand is actually increased in value significantly, even with the opposition, even with as torn apart as the country has become over his presidency.
Right.
His brand has increased
elevated.
big time.
Elevated.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So I guess he's accomplished both ends, if that was ever one. And I'm not insinuating that was one of the goals.
No,
I'll admit at one point I did, but
we both did.
At this point, you'd like to think a man of his wealth wouldn't completely turn his own life upside down for an extra few $1 million. No,
he wouldn't.
It's just not worth it.
He's not even taking a salary; he's taking $1 to be the president.
So did you see what he announced? And this is amazing too, how it was flipped into a negative. Because when I saw that it was announced that I don't have all the exact details for you, but that the income, the profit that his company is making in overseas properties, all of it he is donating to the Treasury, I believe. Straight into the government, some branch of government. He's donating all the profits of his private business into
the government.
Basically, trying to show, look, there's no
misdealings.
There's no misdealings. There's no
unethical
conflict of interest.
Right.
And so he's literally donating all of the profits into our own treasury, trying to. I believe it's the Treasury trying to eat away at the deficit.
Right.
That I thought was awesome.
Right.
But the television media turned that into another negative.
Of course they did. And have you seen the confirmation hearings? Have you been watching any of these confirmation hearings?
No, I haven't picked up on those on the cabinet you're talking about.
Yeah, they are ripping the Democrats. I'm sorry if you're a Democrat. I mean no ill will, but the Democratic people are ripping his nominees apart.
Let me be very transparent, okay? Because what Todd and I are doing here is we're not asking for anything but just for fair, unbiased, balanced news and for respect to the presidency until that respect is no longer warranted. But right now, he's everyone's president.
Right.
Let me be very transparent, I did not vote for him.
Right.
I voted for Hillary.
Right.
Do what you want, say what you want, think what you want about that. Having said that, today Donald Trump is president. Today, when he does something as positive as donating all of his profits to the government from his overseas investments,
right,
I'm going to say, thank you, awesome, and I hope that's the president that we continue having moving forward. If it's not, maybe I'll change my opinion. At the moment, I would like to see the positive for positive, and yes, the negative for negative, but we can't be turning positives into negatives.
No, I mean, I thought it was interesting that there was an interview on CNN. It was like a town hall with Bernie Sanders, and he said
it was very interesting to watch.
It was, but he took his hat off to Donald Trump. I mean, he said the guy ran an unconventional campaign, and he won over the American people. And he will support him as our president of the United States. He'll hold him accountable for what he's supposed to be.
As he should and as the American people should.
But I gained a lot more respect for Bernie in that, that CNN town hall that he did.
Very good speaker, I thought.
Really good speaker, and really, really, I liked what he had to say, and I liked, the way he handled himself and the way he talked about them losing.
So you're listening to Real Estate Exposed. You're with Dan Beer and Todd Pianin. And
we've been talking politics, not real estate.
Turning to real estate, but turning to your retirement. The retirement of so many millions of Americans is completely at risk. The shortage of where the deficit of the cash that is projected not to be there
in Social Security
through Social Security,
right,
for the coming generation that's going to be retiring, is devastating. Okay, there is no money there.
Right.
It is absolutely short. Now, the politicians may print dollars and fund it. Who knows what they're going to do? Which, of course, just kicks the can down the road further, causes other issues, including just massive inflationary issues, because you can't just print money forever.
Right.
And along with that comes the conversation of then how should you retire given the shortage of cash and the inflationary environment that we're bound to be heading into.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads us to real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the most obvious strategies, the most obvious route to wealth is right in front of you, and we don't see it. It's not always through, we tend to think that wealth is acquired through investments that few people know about, or the next hot stock, or the next just secret processes, secret methods, secret strategies that only the elite few have access to.
Right.
And it's not the case. Right in front of you is residential real estate.
Let me ask you a question, okay? Because we're a generation apart, right, in age. I believe that Social Security wasn't going to be around when I retire.
Sure.
You believe, I'm assuming, that Social Security won't be around when you retire.
It can't be, at least not in its current form.
Right, exactly. So I think that, I'm a believer in the people who are receiving Social Security and are going on to Social Security now. That is the way it needs to be. But I've never based my retirement outlook around having Social Security. I've been a lot like you. I've been thinking about, let's talk about it. Let's talk about real estate.
But about that, you're right, and that's. But so many people do depend on that, and whether right or wrong, and it's
the people who currently have it or about to have it depend upon it.
It's going to look different.
Yes.
Okay. If it exists when I retire, maybe it'll exist, but a dollar is going to be worth a penny.
Right.
Because the only way to make it, there would either have to be dramatic changes to the way this country spends money, or they're going to have to print a ton to make it up.
Right.
So how do you retire? How do you retire wealthy? And how do you do it in a way that you can access and is not only for the elite few? It's literally in front of you. It's one of the things you're most familiar with, and anybody has access. We're going to give you a foolproof retirement plan coming up out of the break. You're listening to Dan Beer, Todd Pianin. This is Real Estate Exposed, and we're going to get real estate working for you, your wealth, and your future. Can't wait to do that with you. Stay with us. Your retirement needs to be in your hands, not your government's. Don't rely on Social Security. Especially the younger you are, the least likely it is to be around, at least in its current form. So how do you take control of your finances, your money, your future, your retirement? You're listening to Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer and Todd Pianin. Todd, what would you do if you were starting over, saving for your future, for kids' college funds, etc.?
If I were to go back in time 20 years when I bought my first house at 26, I would have gone FHA, and I would have bought units because I was living in an apartment beforehand, and the opportunity, if I could have bought a 2-unit or a 3-unit or a 4-unit property and only put down 3.5% down, that would have given me the opportunity to then start building my real estate portfolio, right? Because, I mean, maybe I'm only living in a 1-bedroom, but I'm having other people pay my mortgage for me. If I were to go back in time, that's what I would tell past Todd. That's what he should have done, and then kept that property or leverage that. You know what I mean? That would have been part of my retirement portfolio.
And as a young single person, that's a no-brainer because, look, you take somebody like me, I'm young.
Right.
I'm in my mid-30s.
Right.
But I have a wife, I have a kid, I have twins on the way.
Doesn't work now.
My wife, kid, and twins on the way are just not going to move in with me into a maybe 1-bedroom unit in a 4-plex.
Right.
They're just not doing it.
Right.
So, but when I was single, I could have lived in a basement.
Correct.
I didn't care where I lived.
Correct.
And so that's an amazing way to capture 4 units, unbelievably cheap, 3.5% down, get into 2, 3, or 4 units, live in one. And the reason you can do this is because you live in one.
Correct.
So it's owner occupied.
Correct.
And then your tenants pay it all off for you. When you move to a single family home or just your next step in life, you get to keep the mortgage you got as an owner occupant in an FHA loan.
And the tenants are paying it.
It's amazing. And then you replace yourself in your old unit with a new tenant.
Which is also, if you look at what's happened over the last 3 years in the rental market in San Diego County, I mean, we've gone up 24% in the last 3 years, 8% a year. So if you think about that, as you move, you're probably getting your mortgage paid for and able to build your next down payment for your next purchase.
By the way, the number here is 800-676-2420. Let me give that again, 800-676-2420. So, Todd, that's a great strategy for someone single, or possibly not, but you just have to be willing to live in a 2, 3, 4 unit.
Right.
Probably isn't going to be especially extravagant.
No.
Especially if the rents are going to be any good.
Right.
Because the rents aren't fabulous in La Jolla.
Right.
The rents rental income typically makes better sense in kind of, B, C plus type markets.
Right.
And so that's going to, that's absolutely a great way to get into it. So many of my married friends, they have kids, they're looking at, well, how do I not only retire, how do I pay for my kids' schooling?
Right.
I mean, if when we went to school, college, a 4-year college education was $120,000, $130,000.
Reasonable.
What is it going to be?
Right.
What's it going to be 18 years from now?
Right. Right.
Okay. So,
right. And you're going to have 3. I have 2. So, I mean, exactly.
So how do you do that? And again, coming out of the break, we were talking about how people tend to think that that wealth is, there's some hidden strategy, or it's only the elite can do it, or there's special investments that no one else is privy to. It's just not the case. It's as simple as you identify, let's call it a $300,000 property in town. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking you to big numbers, okay? It's the $300,000 is a big number compared to the country.
Right.
But $300,000, you're at 60% of median price point.
Right.
Okay, so just to say you get into a $300,000 property.
Mm-hmm.
You just simply break even on it. I'm not even telling you have to make incredible cash flow. You get a tenant in there that pays your mortgage, your interest, your taxes, your insurance, and they're paying the thing off for you. Fast forward 18 years. If today a home is worth $300,000,
right, what
is it worth 18 years from now? And one way to gauge that roughly is what was property worth in 1999. If you have
I got to tell you, $300,000 property is probably 18 years from now. If you just do a simple 5% compounding over time, right? Your property's gonna be worth close to $500,000. And your mortgage at that time, if you've been paying it for the last 18 years,
your tenant's been paying it.
Your tenant's been paying it, so you probably owe somewhere about $120,000 left on your mortgage at that time.
So you have $380,000 or so of equity.
Right.
At that point, your life also might look very different. 18 years from now, you've maybe made money, saved money, made other investments. You're actually able to pay for college without selling the property, or you sell the home. You sell the home, you pay college off, and you have the rest left over for retirement.
Or you refinance the home and you pull the cash out and you use that to pay for college, and then your new tenants are paying the mortgage
for your retirement.
Or
over the course of those years, you've made a commitment to maybe you're going to acquire a property like this every couple of years,
right?
Every 3 years or so. Well,
which is what you've done, right? I mean, you kind of
absolutely, yeah. No, right now I have a plan of acquiring 10 properties over the course of the next 5 years,
right?
And we'll talk about how you get into these, because that also, a lot of people think, it takes so much more money than it really does,
right?
But let's talk very easy here.
Mm-hmm.
You commit to you're going to buy another one, another two, another these. Look, maybe it's a $200,000 condo. I just bought this a year ago. I bought a $179,000 studio in North Park.
Right.
Okay, I'm not talking. So forget $300,000. You can get into something for $180, for $200, for $280, for $250. You get into that, and then you let your tenant pay it off. 30 years from now, that $250 property is worth $500,000-$600,000.
Right.
And not only is it paid off, but you have all the appreciation on top of it. You have 2 or 3 or 4 of those. That is going to be there. Social Security, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. The politicians don't know. You don't know, Todd.
Nope.
Who knows? Do you know? If you do, please call me, because I'd like to meet you. And I want access to your crystal ball. What I do know is that that property fully paid off and appreciated over 30 years, it's going to have you retiring comfortably. The key here is, what does it take to actually get into one of these properties? How much money is required up front? And so what kind of investment loans, what do you need, Todd, to get into an investment property?
Well, if you're at the $300,000 price range, you can get a loan with 20% down right now. You're going to get better pricing with 25% down. But what I do know is I've seen a lot of millennials, they've grouped together and they'll buy a property and put down 25%. We had a guy actually close last month that he put down 25%, and he's going to Airbnb the property, but he brought in 2 other partners. So I mean, it was a great way for him.
So you don't even have to have the whole 20. You can bring partners.
He brought in.
So maybe you have
correct.
10%. The other partner has 10%. You can do this.
Right.
Call. Let's put a plan together. Talk to Todd. How can you finance them? Figure it out. Retire comfortably and keep that in your control rather than the government's. Number's 800-676-2420. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed here with Dan Beer of the Beer Home Team at Keller Williams Realty and Todd Pianin, Home Street Bank. Remember, coming up out of the break, free tickets to the Home Selling Workshop. It's the official San Diego Home Selling Workshop. It's coming back. We've actually written the curriculum, and those tickets are yours if you're here sticking with us. You can also visit SanDiegoWorkshops.com. You're listening to Dan Beer and Todd Pianin. Back with you. It's Real Estate Exposed here on News Radio 600 Kogo. Dan Beer, Todd Pianin, pumped up more than ever for the official San Diego home selling workshops. They're coming up. The date is February 1st. Grab a pen and paper. Here's the information on how you get your free tickets.
Hold on, I'm grabbing my pen and paper right now.
And what you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to net upwards of $62,000 more on the sale of your home than you would with the methods of traditional agents. How to have your home predictably sold within 5 days of going on the market and for top dollar. How to use buyer psychology in your favor to create a negotiating advantage. My favorite topic. How you use buyer psychology in your favor to create a negotiating advantage. Because here's the news flash. The typical process that is used for home sales, where buyers get their appointments on their time when they want, and the buyer controls the process, is putting the buyer in a place of power. How do you flip the usual script, take back control, and guide the buyer through a buying experience that leads to a predictable result for you? What home improvements, by the way, should you be doing and shouldn't you? Because you need to enhance your home sale and maximize your investment. Often, there's too many people watching HGTV or watching, whatever the latest reality show is, and thinking they need to just do so much more to the property or spend dollars in the wrong place. What home improvements should you and should you not do in order to maximize your investment? That is one of the hardest things to watch when I arrive at somebody's home and they are so proud to show me where they put money into their home. Look, we just did this, we just did that.
Right.
And then there's a glaringly obvious need that I know the market requires in order to get a full market valuation.
Right.
And they say, no, we decided to leave that. We went with this. And so you...
Can you give me a specific example of this?
Yeah, for a specific example would be, somebody tore out. They have a home from 1975. There's no upgrades. Let me rephrase it. There's no improvements that have been made since 1975. Okay, and they've just watched the latest TV show that tells you that the powder room, the guest bathroom, is the most important room in the house, and you need to remodel it.
Right.
So they've just taken the money they have, put it all into one room. Meanwhile, the entire rest of the house is still 1975.
It's like the popcorn ceilings or something like that.
Possibly something like that, or just the whole rest of the house just hasn't been updated accordingly.
Right.
Well, they would have been better off actually not doing the bathroom and then putting... There's ways in which you can elevate the entire value of the property, having used half the money, kept the other half in their pocket, because what no one told them, what TV didn't tell them, is that when you have that beautifully upgraded bathroom, the rest of the house is still 1975. The buyer still sees a 1975 house.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing, by the way. That's just what you have.
Right.
Okay? And so you need to know what to do and what not to do in order to get a return. If your dollars that you're putting into the property are simply getting you $1 back, then all you've done is waste time. You need to
Have you seen situations where people put $1 in and get 10 cents back?
There are situations like that too, and you need, but really, people don't typically realize is that most major remodel projects, you don't get multiples back on that investment. Where home flippers make their money isn't on the improvement.
Oh, no.
Where home flippers get their money is on buying right. They're buying well below market with tons of equity built into it.
I get all that, but I just watched $1 Million Listing Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and Josh Flagg was telling people, well, you put multi-millions of dollars into this property, and you're not going to get any of it back.
You lost me at Los Angeles, and you lost me at So anyhow, at the home selling workshops, what home improvements should you and should you not do to maximize your investment? What's the truth about staging, by the way? So much talk about staging. What's the truth on it? What matters? What doesn't it? How do you use it to earn upwards sometimes of 8% more on the sale of your home? winning with presentation, not just physically, but where the first showing takes place, which is online. That's a big talking point. Now, one of the critical things that has to happen in order to have a smarter home selling strategy is to debunk the biggest home selling myths that are out there that so many people live by. What really matters and what doesn't, right? In this
you're giving away the whole curriculum of our selling.
That's what we're doing.
Oh, you are being super generous today.
Okay, the home selling workshop is where you learn the entire bullet-pointed process that has been trademarked called the 5-Day Blitz. This is a program that was not only used last year to sell 187 homes by one real estate team, okay, by my team, but now we give you the entire blueprint. But we literally achieved a 99% to list to sales price ratio, while the market average is 95. So what you get at the home selling workshop is a process that literally nets you upwards of 4% more on the sale of the home, plus the decreased market time, which carries with the carrying costs and just lost opportunity costs on where you could be getting into while interest rates are rising. Get your free tickets. Here's how you do it. First, the easiest possible way, you just go to SanDiegoWorkshops.com. Again, the event is February 1st. SanDiegoWorkshops.com. I will be there, so will Todd. We're looking forward to meeting you. The other way in which you can get into the workshop is you can call 800-676-2420. Now, here's a special bonus for you because you are our listeners here, and we love nothing more than when we have filled rooms with people like you that we've spent the last couple of years with here on air. Mm-hmm. So, staging, let's revisit. Free home staging package is going to be given out, and you're eligible to win that prize if, when you call in, you give the word lion. Now, if you register online, SanDiegoWorkshops.com, we'll reach out to confirm your tickets, make sure they're being mailed to the right place. When we do so, make sure you share the word lion. Okay? At that point,
is that L-I-O-N?
L-I-O-N.
Or L-Y-O-N?
L-I-O-N. And at that point, you're going to be registered, eligible for the free home staging package. Be with us. Don't miss it. February 1st. And by the way, it's offered twice that day, so there's going to be one that's good for you, whether it be at 12:15 during lunch hour, where we actually provide a boxed lunch, yep, or 6:30 after work. So there's no excuse to have the same average result that all your neighbors are going to have. Rather, you have the opportunity to learn a proven process, get the entire pointed method, meaning you're actually walking away with the education and with the know-how, and then be able to demand more out of your home sale.
I'm going to go as far to say in this situation that most realtors do not want you to go to this home selling seminar because what you learn at this home selling seminar, you are learning how Dan and his team have disrupted the marketplace and have changed the way real estate is bought and sold in San Diego County. So much so that many people who Dan masterminds with across the country are starting to adopt a lot of his principles and a lot of things that he's doing. So I strongly suggest this is free to you. You need to go, and you can help disrupt and change the way homes are bought and sold here in San Diego.
This is so powerful that we've actually now been published. And the book, our published book, which actually I haven't unveiled this at any point, but our book, Real Estate Exposed, Proven Roadmap to a More Profitable Home Sale, is being published by Advantage Media. We're so thrilled to have it out. That'll be out roughly 6 weeks from now. But get yourself to the workshop. The tickets are free. Remember to use the word lion to be able to get that free home staging package. And again, the number is 800-676-2420. 800-676-2420. You can also visit SanDiegoWorkshops.com. It's coming at you February 1st. And Todd's right. no agent wants you going to that workshop because the miserableness of this industry, the amateur approach, the simplistic viewpoint, the lack of strategy is fully exposed, but most importantly, you're given an entire blueprint to take with you, do what you want with it, apply it how you will, hire who you want, but you will understand exactly what to demand out of your real estate professionals, out of the home selling process, and how to deliver the most value to your bottom line. Reality real estate television is destroying your understanding of what real life looks like. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed. Dan Beer, Todd Pianin. We're going to expose the truth of reality television, especially reality real estate TV. And by the way, if you want to connect with us here, number's 800-676-2420.
So, Dan, I'm going to fire at you because we don't have a lot of time left. I got 5 myths about reality TV show that I've written down that I want to ask you about, and I want your opinion if this is a true reality or is this TV make-believe. So first myth I have is when I watch these shows, buyers look at 3 homes and they make a quick decision to purchase one of them. Does that happen?
Actually, there's 2 answers to that. Typically in the marketplace, no. But that's because most buyers aren't working with somebody that's actually sat down to fully understand, map out a plan and a process for them, get to know every last detail of exactly what they're looking for, and then go out and pursue it. Most buyers are working with an agent that just meets them at a property and then starts figuring it out as they go. Those agents are also typically only showing what's currently available. Think about it. You have very unique needs for you and your family, and there's only X amount of homes out there in the marketplace, and one of them is just supposed to automatically fit you. So most agents aren't looking at all of the inventory. They're just looking at the publicly available inventory. On our team, you actually do see a lot of times 3, 4, 5 homes and sold. But why? It's because that's the way it looks on the surface. But what's actually happened is there's a ton of research that's gone into it on the back end, so that when we're in the field actually looking at properties, you're looking at the best ones.
That's what we call Brian Danny, the one and done.
I mean, that there's no question. So that can happen. Brian Danny referencing on the Beer Home team. So go ahead. What's myth number 2?
Okay, so this is a big one. The houses that buyers are looking at are still touring on these TV shows are still for sale.
Repeat that.
So the houses that people are going into on $1 Million Listing, right, that they're showing their buyers, they're making a big deal about, that these houses are still for sale. Like you and I could go out and buy that house too.
Got it. So typically on a show, call it like House Hunters. This makes me think of House Hunters. The homes they're viewing, and actually the people viewing the properties, they've actually already purchased. They've already selected. And so what's happening is they're looking, one of the homes that you're watching on House Hunters actually is the home they purchased.
Right.
But the other 2 or 3 homes, I think it's the other 2 homes, right? They do 3 total.
Yep.
The other 2 homes, they might not even be on the market, or they could be on the market, but they're not actually being considered. The people buying are recreating their buying experience. They've actually already purchased.
So that goes to myth number 3, that the buyers haven't made a purchase decision yet. What you're saying is for a 30-minute television show like House Hunters, they've already purchased the home.
They've already purchased it.
So it's just to give you something to watch.
The buying process takes time. There's escrow, there's inspections, there's all kinds of stuff.
Right.
There's a reason why, like 10 minutes after, or a minute or 2 after they select the house, they're already moving in.
Yeah, I get it.
It's because they've actually already closed escrow on it before the shoot even starts.
So here's a really good one. Like I watch these flipper shows,
sure,
and they always seem to sell their homes at the open house.
Yeah,
and I know the national average, which is 4%. Right?
Yeah. So here's something. I mean, we haven't discussed it in a long time here, but 4% of sales across the country actually occur at open house. Okay, at your traditional open house. And think about it. A traditional open house is essentially an agent that just throws some signs out on the corner 5 minutes before the open house begins, And then we're hoping that people driving, trying to have a nice Saturday or Sunday, maybe they're on their way for ice cream.
I love when you say getting ice cream. I knew that was coming out of your mouth.
Well, they suddenly pause, take a left turn, go in, and we expect them to buy the home. Most home buyers are not depending on open house. What the people that you see at open house are researching. They're in the research phase. They're buying 2 months from now, 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now. Buyers that are actually approved, ready to go, and making an offer today, they're out with their agent. They have the lending in place. They have all of the right steps. So yes, that is a huge myth.
So here's the best. Here we got to run. So here's the last question. So homeowners, when I'm watching $1 Million Listing, make a decision to sell their multi-million-dollar assets with a 5-minute conversation over tea. I mean, is that? So that happens with you and your team, right?
Well, there's a reason that on my calendar, anytime we have a listing, a sale consultation with the seller, there's actually an hour and a half booked into the calendar. So that is major editing on the part of the station. No, it doesn't just take place over 3 or 4 minutes at a stand-up meeting over by the pool. So there's a lot more to it, and the conversation, frankly, shouldn't only revolve around price, which is all that happens on these shows. That's what drives me crazy. What about the greater strategy? That greater strategy is what you're going to learn at the San Diego Home Selling Workshops. They're back February 1st. Get your free tickets. That room always fills up. The number's 800-676-2420, SanDiegoWorkshops.com. That's where you go to get a home selling advantage.
Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Todd Piana from Home Street Bank, a member of the FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS ID number 304014, and go USA. Welcome President Trump.